Yo, what's up guys, Nakama here, and today I'm going to be ranking all the Mindgame anime and so this is also the second episode of a certain series I'm trying to do, which is the ultimate tier list series. So basically, I'm going to try and rank every single show I ever watched in my life in this tier list. So this is from the action anime tier list. You should definitely check out my previous action anime tier list video because I talk about these anime in that video. Not gonna lie, I didn't watch all of these anime, and even if I did watch some of them, I haven't watched all. For example, Detective Conan. I haven't watched a good 30 episode, which is a lot. It's definitely a lot compared to a lot of 12 episode shows. But yeah, this anime has 800 episodes and there's no way I'm going to watch all of it. And also I did not watch some of these such as Akagi, but I merely put this on the tier list so that if I were to do a collab, that person might have watched Akagi. I don't know. I just thought, hey, Akagi is something that I might watch. Mindgame is something that I might watch. So yeah, basically all of these are anime that are very mind game, very tactical, strategical anime. Death Note, Future Diary, sort of. Erased, Detective Story, Detective Conan, and Death Parade also has some of that, as well as Danganronpa and Ace Attorney, the anime. Let's talk about some anime, and the first anime I want to talk about is Danganronpa, because Danganronpa 1, I played the original visual novel. Unfortunately, I didn't watch the anime in its fully. Actually, I think I watched 3 or 4 episodes, and I thought, the light novel is better. And it is better. So, what am I supposed to do? Try to assume what a Danganronpa at the anime is like, because I saw scenes from different clips, and I played the visual novel, so I'm trying to, in my head, process, okay, Danganronpa 1, but it has voice acting, but it's also super rushed. Where do I rank it? Fuck me, I don't know. It's gotta be a trash, simply because the fun of Danganronpa is solving the mysteries on your own and actually working your brain. Like Danganronpa, a lot of detective mysteries such as Ace Attorney and Danganronpa are games. The fact that you have to answer the questions and solve the puzzles creates this whole new appeal of gameplay and challenging yourself. When I sometimes watching Let's Play, something because I did, experience a lot of the Danganronpa games through Let's Plays, and I don't have the experience of solving them blind, but I can clearly see why it's so fun and deduce from how people are reacting during the Let's Play that I know the quality of the gameplay. And the Danganronpa 1 is arguably the weakest Danganronpa game. So Danganronpa the animation on top of adapting the weakest Danganronpa game, it's also super rushed. Even the weakest Danganronpa game, I will probably if this was the visual novel, I'll probably rank it high, maybe even something like this. That's actually quite high, in all honesty. But this is the rushed anime. Probably this. It's super rushed. Even putting it above JoJo 1 is kind of debatable. Definitely, it's a classic. And contrary to popular belief, I actually kind of like the second half. I still think the second half actually was a little too rushed, I think, because there's a lot of important details in the manga that makes the manga so much more interesting. The manga, especially the manga ending. And the Death Note, the anime is when I first watched and finished Death Note, the anime, I was such a big Death Note fan. Holy shit. I still really like this anime. I'll put it here. It's such a good watch. 47 episodes. The problem with Berserk is that as much as good it is, it's also kind of like a hack and slash, brute force type of anime. It definitely has some more interesting stuff in terms of themes, and it also has the most giant ass cliffhanger ending ever. Yeah. Naruto, I definitely could, debate to be higher, but nah, it's not a clean experience as Death Note, I think. And yeah, contrary to definite popular belief, I definitely enjoyed the second half, And I do think overall it's a very clean experience. Definitely recommendable. The most recommendable anime, in all honesty. And yeah, Death Parade. Okay, so originally in the first video, Shield Hero was the only anime at the end. I currently now realize that I kind of dig Shield Hero, even if the animated adaptation sort of added a bunch of filler into it. I definitely like the manga the most, probably more than the anime at least. And Death Parade is okay. First of all, spoilers for the first episode. The characters that were in there are currently dead, and this is sort of an episodic story where people, this anime, try to judge who goes to heaven and who goes to hell, who goes to reincarnation. I'm sorry, not heaven. I think I don't know. It kind of tries to be religious, but I think it kind of did a really poor job of it. It also doesn't help that the characters never really discuss why they make certain decisions of who gets to reincarnate, who goes to go down. They don't discuss that. And the world building, it's an episodic messing with people's lives. And I don't know, it's kind of boring, honestly. It kind of tries to say something, but doesn't do a whole lot of job. There's also some very flaws of the system, the reincarnation system, and the way they judge things. And the show is kind of aware of it, but doesn't do anything about it. So yeah, it's such a bland anime. So in that sense, like yeah, I get the visuals are kind of interesting. The opening is banger, but fuck me, I can't judge this like an art piece because of that. Demon Slayer has good visuals, amazing fight choreography, and it still has a pretty good story. Like I'm not put it on A solely for its visuals, and Death Parade the visuals are good, decent, but the story is nah. No way I'm going to put it any higher than D. And again, like, even though D is still a decent watch, like, I'm not saying you can't watch Death Parade. I just think it's very disappointing. It kind of like brings up certain interesting ideas, but does absolutely nothing with it. It's a 12 episode anime, and it's also episodic. It kind of like doesn't try to tie up a lot of loose ends. It just kind of like dicks around with certain episodic stories and just doesn't build up. Detective Conan is actually quite enjoyable. I actually think I should put it about the original Danganronpa. Detective Conan is such a hit and miss. Whether you think Detective Conan is a good anime or a bad anime has entirely depended on what episodes you watched. Because there are some really terrible, such a disappointing episodes that feel like a waste of time. But I also recently watched the movie, the first movie, and it was such a fun experience. Holy shit. You know what? I might even put it something like this, because it's also one of the few animes that explores the detective genre in anime. Does a pretty good job of it. Even here, like Monster and the recent Detective Has Died, are they really good mystery stories? Maybe, good thrillers? Hell, I think like Detective Died is more of a good romance than an actual mystery, in all honesty. It's actually really good at creating plot twists and even romance, kind of. Because, Siesta is Bay. It's also, very comedic and very entertaining. And it also has it has its first action scene is kind of decent, and then it kind of falls off. It's really hard to call it as a good mystery. Kind of difficult to say that. Whereas Detective Conan is an actually good mystery story. At least certain arcs has a really fun and interesting mysteries. And since I talked about Detective Shinda so much, fuck me, I honestly don't know. Maybe something like here. I mean, did I even enjoy it as much as One Punch Man? Honestly, maybe not. I kind of did enjoy it, and I actually did binge it more than One Punch Man, because One Punch Man I kind of went back and watched 1 or 2 episodes, and I actually think I didn't finish it. Whereas if this time I only did not watch the final episode. For some reason, I just didn't feel like it. But otherwise, it was no enjoyable experience. Would I rate it any higher than this? It's difficult anime because let's be honest, it's not a good mystery, but at the same time, I also don't think it's necessarily a bad experience or a regrettable experience, because Seista and the main character, Kimi's interactions are really fun. I also think the plot twists in this anime are actually kind of really decent. There's definitely some interesting stuff going on with the secret organization, as well as the villain, and as well as the whole our detective is apparently dead, and you get spoiled on that on the end of episode 1, and they also kind of do a really interesting twist regarding that. So yeah, it's a 12 episode anime. It's not a bad watch, I wouldn't say, but I wouldn't really any hard to see it. Like, being at sea isn't necessarily the worst thing. Like, Dragon Ball has some really good moments. I just think overall it's a very hard experience, simply because the pacing is so bad. And it also kind of feels mid a lot of the time. Even the fights sometimes. And yeah, Dr. Stone is really fun. Dr. Stone is really fun. Like, I didn't watch all of it. I barely finished season 1. But from what I have watched, I really like it. Depending on how it goes, I think I might rank it higher, might rank it lower. I don't know. But right now, I think it's here. But generally, what I really like about is the fact that the science in this show is actually real. Like, they actually teach you how to make a light bulb. They teach you how to make soap, medicine, and also gun and explosives. That's kind of radical. Like, knowledge is power, and watching Dr. Stone kind of gives you power in a way, because it gives you actual knowledge. And I'm not going to say some stupid like shit like, oh, it's it's real. Like, if it goes down to like realism and shit, the haikyuu and the Kuroko basket should also be higher, because it's real sports. Not just that, but I also think Senku is a very interesting and fun character, and I also like the dynamics of the character, as well as the supposed villain. Tsukasa was the guy who wants to destroy humanity, and our main characters are trying to stop him, which is really cool. And I also think like the commentary regarding humanity's nature, and I really like it. I really like it. And Erased. Erased is not good. It's really not good. Reason I will put Erased over Death Parade is because, unlike Death Parade, it's not an episodic show. It definitely is more focused, but at the same time, the focus is so bad. Like, Death Parade focuses at least on different things, and while that might kind of become a little boring and you don't get a lot of setup, and the show kind of fails to also say something interesting regarding that, it's also very sort of a safe net. If a single episode or a single concept sucks ass, the show doesn't get damaged that much, because every episode is different. Whereas with Erased, the whole mystery of this girl getting killed and our main character going back in time is kind of shit. In all honesty, the main villain is so obvious and it's so uninteresting. It doesn't say anything. Even the main girl getting like beaten up. Like, I feel bad for this girl, and she is kind of cute. She's a cute small girl. Don't take that out of context. I feel bad for her, but like, so what? Me watching this show and feeling bad for the girl, and me like evaluating this show and recommending it to other people and evaluating its artistic value are completely different things. No way. There's no way I'm going to rank it even higher than this. It also doesn't help that our main character has the advantage of future knowledge, but still somehow manages to be the worst detective ever. Like, fuck me, if I was in his place, I will not have died a single time. I would have solved the mystery, and I would have saved the girl, and I will not have been in an embarrassing situation like he did, where he kind of almost lost. So yeah, maybe I'm too boastful. Yeah, it's not impressive. The show's writing is not impressive. It doesn't say very impressive stuff about psychology. It doesn't say it doesn't have an impressive mystery. It's not an impressive slice of life. It's not a very good experience overall, even for a 12 episode anime. Like, Akutama Drive is an amazing experience compared to the rest. If you haven't watched Akutama Drive, you should. Honestly, just give it a try. At least the first episode. It's such a wild ride. It's honestly amazing. Being a 12 episode is like not an excuse. Like Devilman is 10 episodes, Madoka is 12 episode, Akatoma Drive is 12 episode. Even the Boruto movie is a movie, and I still think the Boruto movie is actually way better than Raised, which is why I put it there. I honestly think Boruto movie is kind of too high. Maybe I think this Boruto movie is just nostalgia talking, okay? Future fucking Diary. I still would put it above Death Parade. Holy shit. Maybe even JoJo 1. Would I put it above JoJo 1? I don't fucking know. Future Diary isn't typically like that smart, but I really like the concept of knowing your future and changing your future. That's kind of rad. Yuki is like, yeah, he's a coward, but like, it's fine. It's okay. And Gasa is the classic anime. She's alright. I don't know. This show is kind of funny. I know people are gonna get pissed off towards me for saying this, but yeah, Future Diary is kind of fun. From what I have watched, it's kind of fun. Like JoJo 1 is so generic. It's a fun experience. I think it's very watchable. I think Dio is just carries part 1. Dio kind of like made things very difficult for me. I think it's fine like this. Like that. Yeah. Danganronpa 1, if you're like, it's the low rank C. They absolutely botched, the visual novel with this, the anime. So I have to feel like, in terms of execution, like JoJo and Future Diary is way better. So I have to like, put Danganronpa 1. Again, I really wish you guys would watch the entire fucking video, because things do get changed a lot. Like, you don't even have to watch this at 1.1 speed. If I'm talking slowly, just watch it at high speed. And Ghost in the Shell. Okay, people are going to say like, bro, what are you doing? Like, X-Rank. Okay, you know what? This show has a gorgeous animation, but like, fuck me, it's just a movie. Chill your tits. I didn't watch a standalone complex. And this is one of the problems with movies. Evaluating its artistic value is hard. If something has a lot of filler episodes, a lot of mid portions, it's kind of hard to skip, but also hard to watch. Like those type of anime are something like Hunter x Hunter, where there's a lot of exposition dump, a lot of mid sections where it's kind of fun but kind of boring at the same time. Whereas with Ghost in the Shell, every single moment felt like a masterpiece. But at the same time, the story is so blah. Like, yeah, it has a very interesting concept, and they executed it well in 90 minutes. But at the end of the day, it's 90 minutes. How am I supposed to compare that to fucking Naruto, which is hundreds of episodes and hundreds of build-up of amazing climactic moments and intertwining storylines? Whereas with Ghost in the Shell, yeah, the execution is good. The concept is interesting. Kind of says it something, but I also don't think an entire 90 minutes it's not enough. It's really not enough. Like trying to evaluate a movie is really hard. In terms of execution, I think it's really solid. It doesn't have a really mid moments. But at the end of the day, it's a movie, it's a 90-minute show. There's really little that you can do about it. And also, there are a lot of moments where the show tries to be like artsy without delving much into the themes or the story. But it's a really fun, interesting, good watch. I still think people are like lose their mind over nothing, simply because this show is so deep. Like, yes, but you know what's also deep? Demon Slayer is sort of deep, and it's commentary on family. Parasyte the Maxim is deep. JoJo is also deep. Akutama Drive is really deep. Gurren Lagann is deep. Blue Gender is deep. Berserk is deep. Naruto is definitely deep. Facer is deep. Cody is. Everything is deep. Shut up about Ghost in the Shell. It's not that like the most phenomenal 10 out of 10 anime, but I will think it doesn't have any down moments. Its execution is very well made, but it's not as fun as Kuroko or Haikyuu. Like Kuroko and Haikyuu has some themes, but at the same time, it's also long. And it's also really fun. And I think that's a testament too. Like something like Ruby to me is like mind-boggling because it's so high up simply because it's so long, but at the same time, nothing about it is skippable. Like I'm currently rewatching this show, and even the first season where a lot of jank animation exists, every moment is so precious. Every dialogue is so entertaining. It's so fun to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I just like fell in love with these characters, fell in love with its style. Like again, at the end of the day, everything is subjective. But yeah, I just fell in love with the show, and I also fell in love with Ghost in the Shell to an extent. But at the end of the day, it's a 90-minute show, whereas this anime is like 80 episodes or something like episodes of constant entertainment. It's so fun and so interesting. And it says so many things about so many different subject matter. So Ghost in the Shell, the characters are very emotionless, but it's fine. It works well in the context of the story. And its execution is really well. You know what? Like, okay, you know what? I think I'm like being very brainwashed right now. I'm going to put it way back. Like, I thought, I was trying to think about this show's legacy, but the more I more I looked deep into myself, I realized I just don't fucking care about Ghost in the Shell, man. I really don't care about Ghost in the Shell. Like, I don't feel anything about it. I actually feel more emotional connection to Madoka's characters than I do with Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell, it's very amazing that you did it in 1990, but I don't give a fuck about when it was created or its historical value. Because that history does not matter to me. What matters to me is that, okay, how do I feel about this show, like currently, and what do I feel when I see this film, and how watchable these films are to me and to perhaps to other people. But again, I don't understand other people's opinions at all, and people are very different from me. So would I rewatch this show and say it's a good experience? And Ghost in the Shell is a good experience, but it's also 90 minutes. It doesn't like say a whole lot. Like you watch the show once, you watch the show twice. It's a very well animated show. I don't know anything about how the show's themes like changing when you rewatch it. Like maybe if I rewatch it, I don't know. But like I also don't like movies that are too artsy instead of like just saying the things in a concrete way. If something like changes its meaning too many times, that has nothing to do with the movie. That has something to do with you and the movie being too abstract. Like Ruby says a lot of stuff, but like every time I watch it, its meaning doesn't change depending on how I read it, because its meaning is very clear, and that's good because it has its own message. The characters have their own opinion, and they say what they want to say out loud, whether you like it or not, and that's very respectable. Because with Ghost in the Shell, it's a movie that can be interpreted in many different ways, and Neon Genesis is not like that. It's very clear in its message and its emotions. Kaguya-sama is okay. It's a comedy show, but it also kind of does count as a mind gaming show. Kaguya-sama is very unique, and I really enjoyed what I have experienced. But it's also, you have to admit, it's very repetitive. But I think it's overall very enjoyable show. The animation did such a entertainment value to the show, and the characters, as much as they don't change and as much as they are repetitive, they're very entertaining. Not gonna lie, it's a very entertaining show. It's very in one note, I'll admit that. It's something that it's a show that I kind of like. I almost feel like I want to watch it now, simply because it's a good show in small bursts. I actually might not enjoy it that much if I try to binge it. You get what I mean? Because if I binge it, then it's like, oh, it's one episode another very similar jokes. But like if you watch it once in a while, it's an episode, sort of episodic thing show, and it's very fun. Give it a shot. It's very unique in its execution. It's very like Death Note, but it's a romantic comedy. Kaiji is pretty good. Kaiji is pretty good, but I also think it's kind of repetitive in some ways. Okay, I think the first arc was really the best, but there's also some problems with the first arc too. Specifically, there's some plot holes where the characters aren't doing the most smart thing. Like it's very like reminiscent during a rewatch. That Kaiji, I love you, man. You're kind of smart, but you're also not the smartest. I actually think there are certain things that are very luck based, very debatable, where it counts as something as smart. But does a really good job at commenting on society and the problems of people being cruel and being over infatuated with money. Shows the life of gamblers and how money dictates world, and the jungle hasn't changed. This world is a fucking mess. This world is still a jungle at the end of the day. A very entertaining and thrilling jungle, but still a jungle, a very cruel jungle. Monster I watched, but fuck me, this show actually is the fucking Naruto of detective stories, because the fillers are too much, man. I think people are going to kill me if I put it below Boruto, but I think the earlier okay, first of all, I did not finish the whole thing. And you're going to say like, bro, stop ranking shit you haven't watched. Yes. But at the same time, there are shows like Detective Conan where it's impossible for me to finish, but I have to rank it. So I watched 20 episodes of it. The start of this anime is so fucking good. Like, the start of the anime is so fucking good. You have this Dr. Tenma, is such a kind-hearted guy saving this child. He loses everything because he decides to do the right thing. Or I mean, it's debatable whether it's the right thing, but he saves this child because, he's a child, and honestly, he just felt like he wanted to save this poor little child, and he loses everything. But that child turns out to be evil, and he has to now kill this child he saved because he turned out to be an evil person. It kind of goes to show that there's no right or wrong. Even if Tenma himself is such a kind-hearted and a righteous person, it doesn't mean everything he does is right. Nobody can tell at the end of the day that what is right and what is wrong. That theme is done so well, but fuck me, the fillers are killing me. Like, I legitimately think someone should make a monster cut or something. Like the way they made Naruto Kai, they need to make monster Kai because the fillers are too much. The first episodes were good, but after that it just kind of becomes boring, becomes very episodic. Maybe it's going to pick up and become amazing, which is, is possible. Like, in this modern day and age, being watchable is so important. Like, there's certain animes, sometimes a 10, sometimes a 5, sometimes a boring ass anime. It becomes really challenging to watch because we live in the modern society where Attack on Titan exists. Attack on Titan is a really well executed anime. And I'm not talking about the first season or the fourth season. The first season is one of the most hype anime for a good reason. The second season is also really, really well executed, a really amazing story. Despite no one talking about it, overall it's such a good watch. FMAB is also a really good watch. Neon Genesis really holds up really well. It aged on certain aspects, but in a lot of aspects it did not age. Avatar, man, it also has filler episodes, but I watched the whole thing. It has so many amazing moments, so I really can't. With Monster, the first half is amazing. The rest is nah. I definitely need to finish it. I think if I finish it, my opinions will change drastically. But for the time being, it should be here. Ace Attorney, the fucking anime. Contrary to popular belief, the adaptation of this anime is actually kind of good. I don't want to rank this low. In fact, I want to rank this high. Okay, My Hero Academia fans are going to shit themselves, but I really like Ace Attorney, and the Ace Attorney adaptation, from what I know, is really well done. The animation might not be good, but it's still the good old murder mystery, and I really enjoy those. I still don't want to rank it any higher than this simply because the gameplay is so important. Ace Attorney, the DS games definitely aged, okay? But regardless of it aging, the simple fact that it's a game and you actually play it changes so much, makes the experience so much enjoyable. I legitimately think that playing Ace Attorney made me smarter. And the gameplay is so good and so fun. Like that interactivities. And yeah, I am going to go further beyond. I am going to rank fucking video games inside this tier list. And it's going to be the most fucking crazy ass tier list of all time. Really wish you guys will do or watch this series, okay? Platinum Man. This anime is actually kind of good. Like people, the haters gonna hate. Oh my god, people are gonna shit me for saying this, but I haven't finished this anime. I only watched 17, 16, but I really liked Platinum Man. Is this anime as good as Death Note? Probably not. But I still think overall, this anime is a very enjoyable experience. First of all, the directing, the cinematography, the music's actually kind of bangers. Animation is kind of mid. It's kind of mid. Like, it's not bad, but it's also kind of mid. But regardless of that, I still think it manages to give a very similar fun time compared to Death Note, in that it's a mind game. Like, you have this superpowers of being able to fly, being able to manipulate other people's emotions, making them fall in love with you. There are also other people with these abilities, and even if you have these overpowered and strong abilities, the other people who have these abilities creates this a lot of huge challenge for our main character or main characters. It's really cool, and it's really fun trying to see how our main characters fight the evil guy who's trying to kill all the god candidates. Yeah, it's really fun. Interesting. And I also think this anime also says a lot of interesting stuff about too. Unlike the majority of people, I kind of like the main character to an extent. He's the exact opposite of Light Yagami. In fact, the villain in the story is actually very similar to Light Yagami. And that he's a very Machiavellian. He's trying to do everything he can to get what he wants. He's trying to kill all the god candidates, whereas our main character is the exact opposite of Light Yagami, that he values human life a lot, and he does whatever he can to not emotionally hate other people. And he's such a pacifist, and he tries to talk it out for other people. It doesn't work out. He constantly faces these challenges of this evil Machiavellian people who wants to kill him. And regardless of that, this also our main character is trying to hold on to his belief that, hey, all people are deserving to be happy, even if they're assholes. And he kind of holds on to that belief a little too much, and that kind of pissed a lot of viewers off, but I kind of like it. People liked Light Yagami despite him being a psychopath. So why can't people like the main character despite him being a little too naive and too dogmatic in his beliefs, and too much of a wuss, or too much of a kind-hearted dude? And I think it's a very watchable experience, which is why it's about monster. People are gonna shit me on this, but it's a very watchable experience. It doesn't have a lot of fillers, and every episode something interesting happens, and the characters are very emotional, and I might continue watching it, because I actually think the anime stopped airing. I kind of hated watching every episode when it comes out, so I want to binge it when I can, and I might binge it. Promised Neverland. I only watched the first 5 episodes. It looked interesting, but oh yeah, it suddenly fell into the F category. I wonder why. I hear very bad things regarding the second season. And I mean, the first season might be an enjoyable watch. Does a really good job of making a really cool story, but it's also not that smart. The characters are trying to make it seem like, oh, these children are super smart, and going to outsmart the grandma, and give this the Brisbane 200 IQ anime. It's not that smart. But regardless of that, yeah, I think it's it's fitting here. I mean, what am I supposed to say about this anime? It's kind of tries to be mind gamey, but I only watched 5 episodes. But I felt like ranking it. Yeah, should I rank Video Healer? I mean, I want to talk about Video Healer. I only watched like the first 4 episodes. Oh my god, people are going to shit me for like putting this not on F tier. Video Healer is extremely entertaining. I only watched the first 4 episodes, and our main character is very light Yagami-ish. I want to call some hypocrisy shit, okay? You guys like hype Light Yagami as the super awesome like character, and every time there's action adaptation where they try to make Light Yagami a lot more of a human and a lot more of a sympathetic character and less of a scumbag, you guys shit on the new Light Yagamis and complain about how the original Light Yagami is so awesome and handsome, and fuck you. Like our main character in Video Healer is a little like Light Yagami. In fact, I think Video Healer is like the logical end to Shield Hero. Our Naofumi wants to take revenge and kill the people who wronged him, and the Video Healer main character wants to rape the people who shit on him. So yeah, the conflict presented in the story is also quite interesting. Our main character messing with the people's minds and like laughing to himself. He's a complete sadist. He's a very entertaining, kind of fucked up main character, and that's a very rare. Like usually, a lot of stories try to make the main character very relatable, at least somewhat of a good guy. Video Filler is not like that. Video Filler is like, fuck yeah, let's offend as many people as possible. Okay, Spice and Wolf. I really love Spice and Wolf. Holy shit. Oh my god, I love Spice and Wolf. The feelings I have for Spice and Wolf is so much. I love Spice and Wolf, man. And I think I really like putting it on A because Holo, Lawrence are such lovable characters. There are also some other characters too, but like they're more of a supporting cast. But yeah, their interaction is so nice. But I also think this show is so deep too. The show is so mature in its presentation and its themes. And it's also one of the very unique animes that it's about traders and businessmen and trying to make money. It's a very enjoyable experience. It's very mind gameish. The reason it's in the mind game category is because the characters are supposed to do business and outsmart other trading companies and businessmen. And Lawrence is trying to make a full living for himself while also trying to carry her Holo to her designated location, which is Yorkshire. Was it? Yeah, Holo wants to go to her homeland, and in this process, they kind of like fell in love with one another, and it's such a beautiful atmospheric show. They did such a fantastic job in giving a whole lot of atmosphere to the story, and I actually like this is also one of the few anime where season 2 ends on a cliffhanger, and I wanted to know the entire story so badly that I actually went ahead and read the light novels, which is rare, and the light novels are good. It's quite good. I actually kind of like not recently, I think I read the volume 9 a year ago, and I was so happy to read volume 9 simply because I never realized I missed these characters so much. Like it was like meeting. Oh my god, I'm going to cry. I missed this character so much when I read volume 9. I think I just like fell in love with these characters, man. Holy shit! I can't believe it. Of all the enemies here, it was Spice and Wolf that made me cry on camera, which honestly makes me want to put it on. Yes, it should be really high. Fuck me. The head and the heart, yeah. Fuck man, I just love this anime so much. Adventuring to different countries and regions, but it feels like worlds. I just love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is so fucking amazing. I honestly think the soundtrack on its own can be listened alone, but it's also very, atmospheric. I think half the reason why the show is so atmospheric is because of the soundtrack. The other half is because of the characters and the visuals also. And I think there isn't a single anime, perhaps even on this list, that tackles the theme of loss in such a very interesting way. Because yes, I mean, all this anime kind of does tackle loss. Eren loses mama, and in Ruby there are some certain deaths and a lot of mourning going on. But I think what's special about Spice and Wolf is that Lawrence and Holo are, together, but I mean, even Lawrence himself to a certain extent, despite being alive and despite traveling together and near one another, Holo, like, preemptively, like, worries and fears the pain of loss and losing Lawrence and being too attached to him. As soon as she realizes, oh, I'm being too attached to Lawrence, tries to distance herself from him, and that's so, like, sure. There isn't any anime that tackles something like that. Even any romance anime tackles something like that. And Holo's characterization is so fucking well done. She's such a smart, beautiful, sassy, entertaining woman. How do you make someone who's like hundreds and hundreds of years old feel very human and realistic? And I think they did a phenomenal job in writing Holo. Yeah, Izuna Hasakura, they did a fantastic job of Holo's characterization in the light novels as well as, and it got adapted into anime. Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. I love this show, man. I really do. Maybe if I keep talking about the show more, maybe I might cry more, because yeah, the first season also was announced. That's so beautiful. I think I talked about on Discord about what my most favorite or most anticipated show is, and one of them was Ruby Volume 9, which I'm really anticipated to watch. But it's also Spice and Wolf 3, because fuck me, like, I miss Spice and Wolf. Ruby, as much as I love this show, they're doing a good job, okay? I know that Volume 9 was going to come out eventually. Spice and Wolf, I watched this show when I was 15, and it's been like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. 8 years later, and it's coming back. That's crazy. Holy shit, I wish they did a good job. We were living in the golden age of anime where dozens of shows get phenomenal adaptations, and I think Spice and Wolf truly deserves one. Spy Family. Didn't watch the recent episode. Fuck, this is such a good show. Well-made show. First of all, I think this is one of the best adapted anime I've ever watched in my life. I mean, there are some debates too. I think Demon Slayer's adaptation is kind of crazy. Yeah, maybe not compared to Demon Slayer. Let's not compare it to Demon Slayer. The adaptation of Spy Family is so good. Because I did, make a video regarding reading the manga. And while the manga is really great, the anime is also fucking amazing. Voice acting, the visuals, as well as the way they use 3D and 2D, it's amazing. And yeah, the concept is also very fun and interesting too. This is such a well-made, wholesome anime. And yeah, it's straight up high B. Yeah, I think it might be too much of a preemptive high rank. This isn't like, Spy Family is going to get good later on type of bullshit. No. I watched, 9 episodes of this anime, and all 9 episodes were amazing. I think it's only going to get higher and higher from here. I think Spy Family has a lot of potential. Capitalize on that potential, or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe it might become a bit boring, but right now it's just fucking amazing. I think it's high B. It's very well fitting, especially since I only watched 9 episodes. People are saying, oh, why aren't you rating it higher? Well, this is a very slow burn, and it's a very execution-based anime. In terms of the macro plot, nothing has a lot of happened. I mean, a few things happened. The show isn't always about this grand plot. It's also about executing these very fun little moments and having this good theming messages as well, and very feel-good moments. So in that sense, the show is so good. Steins Gate. Oh man, people are not gonna like this one. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. It's going low. People are gonna fucking kill me. But I don't care. Steins Gate kind of made me bored. I think I talked about this in my previous videos, and my opinion of Steins Gate did not change at all. Yeah, I mean, Honkyuma, very entertaining character, and because of Kurisu is also very entertaining character. Their chemistry is great, but there's also so many like otaku culture nonsense that's in here. Time travel stuff isn't very fun. Like when I see a time travel story, I want to see some fun stuff. That they want to like heavily try and convince me that linking up like microframe into a cell phone is going to create a time machine, which is not true. That's not how it works. Time travel is kind of impossible. And if I want to see a time travel story, I want to see a fun time travel story. And Steins Gate is all about messing with time a little bit and then changing it back, which is kind of boring. It's a kid's version of a time travel story. Heck, Avengers Endgame is a much more fun story because that movie is all about fun, crazy shenanigans. I also am going to rank video games, and if I were to rank video games, then there's definitely going to be some very fun video game ranking that's going to happen. There are certain like visual novels that does time travel in such a fun way. And they have certain explanations, but the explanations are fine. I'm glad that I have it. It's better than nothing, but like it only exists to make the story make sense or have understand the logic of the story. Otherwise, the explanation I'm not really big on. Steins Gate, everything it does it just feels very unimpressive. Like every show above it does some impressive stuff. Like even Shield Hero does a very interesting stuff at the start with the revenge subplot, as well as, a hero wielding a shield. It kind of gets nonsensical later on, but it does have a very unique concept. Sword Art Online, I mean, it's not like unique now, but like when it came out, heck, it's even unique now in some aspects. Main character who is in a div game, but like marries a woman and has a child in it. Like that's such a great, fantastic story and a very wholesome story. Like all the shows about kind of does very fun things. And Steins Gate has time travel. Anything else? Not really. Time travel shows I like and watch and really enjoy are really fun time travel stories that are more fun than Steins Gate. I'm sorry, I really can't rank it higher. There are certain meme moments in Steins Gate that are kind of high if I would rank it. No, there's no way. One Punch Man has so many fun moments and I still ranked it quite low. Even the Ace Attorney, like every show has a fun meme moment. I'm not going to rank Steins Gate high because of memes. Yu-Gi-Oh! The American opening is good, it's iconic, but it's not good. If I were to sing a nostalgic song regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! It will be like Toroketai, Todokanai, Kono omoi wo Hontou Taisetsu na kanani kana. That's the iconic opening to me because I grew up with that opening song. And yeah, I actually kind of like have some really big nostalgia of Yu-Gi-Oh! I grew up with the anime. And I'm so fucking glad that I did not grow up with the 4Kids. I mean, the 4Kids version is kind of hilarious in some aspects too. But the Japanese anime is so cool. Our TV network aired Yu-Gi-Oh! There wasn't any dub. It's the pure Japanese sub, which is kind of nonsensical. Like, how did they expect anyone to understand that? I watched the entire, our TV network actually aired Duelist Kingdom to Battle City, almost the end of Battle City. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable experience. Like, I remember the fucking opening being bangers. Like, the old free openings. I love it so much. And yeah, it's such a nostalgic and fun anime. But it's so hard to rank also because and I also grew up and I make a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content, so there's a lot of connection I have with the show. But how the hell am I going to rank this? Because the actual anime is not great. In terms of this pure mind games, it's also not very great because actually in the manga, the gameplay was completely different. So the anime had to make it similar to actual trading card game and as well as trying to adapt the manga. So it's kind of this whole jumble of mess. I feel really sorry for the writers trying to adapt the manga into a coherent story while also trying to make it adapt the actual trading card game. Trying to mix in the two is seems like a difficult job. I mean, if I was in their position, I might have done a way better job simply because I played the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG a lot. But I think I needed a lot of liberty with it because I think showmakers did not have that much liberty. I'm just guessing. There's probably a lot of debate on how certain card effects should work because there are certain things that worked in the manga, there's certain things that doesn't work in the anime. Regardless of that, I still think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has quite a few hype moments. But it also has quite a few dumb moments where the characters like misplay heavily. Like even like if you played the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and you watched the anime, even if you consider the anime rules, there are still like the characters make so many dumb mistakes. It's kind of like really difficult to watch. Yeah, it's probably around here, honestly. The more I thought about it, like, yeah, I have a lot of connection with this story. But it's most likely because I grew up with it. It was the only anime on TV. Like if fucking Spy Family was airing on TV. As if Detective Conan was airing on TV. Kuroko no Basket or Haikyuu was airing on TV. Would I have liked Yu-Gi-Oh! This much? It's very debatable. But I still really like it. I definitely have certain feelings towards it, but GX! I haven't even finished the first season, but like I only watched 12 episodes of it. Yeah. It's alright. It's alright. I actually kind of... Okay, people are going to shit on me, but I am putting GX above Steins Gate simply because I love the trading card game. And one of the big improvement GX did is that they followed the rules of the TCG a lot more faithfully, which makes it very enjoyable to watch certain games. And I kind of like it. But no, C rank is just... I like it. I like it, the ranking thing. I think it's fair. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to like talk about all of these anime here, and maybe like talk about the ranking a little bit. Like I still can't fucking believe I cried over Spice and Wolf on on camera, man. I really love the show, man. Geass, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what I watched. Yeah, I think this rankings makes a lot of sense. Like I'm looking at this and wondering if my opinions will change because some of these decisions were really hard to make. So I was thinking about ping pong, whether lowering it or not. So difficult. I kind of really liked ping pong. It being a 12 episode anime is an upside and a downside because it's nowhere near as like fun or like it doesn't take the gameplay aspect very seriously. But at the same time, it's such a well-made show. You know, despite it looking like shit, but like the only reason Yu-Gi-Oh! Is above Dragon Ball is because I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! And on top of the fact that, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very unorthodox story. But like, I honestly think there's an argument to be made that Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually is a better show than Dragon Ball. Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually uses tactics, whereas Dragon Ball is, oh, my numbers are bigger. But damn, the Sakugas in this anime is kind of crazy too, so... I don't know. It's really difficult. But I really like Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's also one of the few card game anime I watched. So it's a very unique experience, I would say that. And people like shit on like talk about something like Vixas where Vixas is good because it doesn't focus on the gameplay. No! Card game anime is fucking cool. Like I really liked GX and I actually wanted to watch GX specifically for the gameplay. Like the story is, you know, fine, it's serviceable, but the fact that they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Really made me really enjoyable. And I actually watched the Grand Prix arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! And actually dropped the final arc. And the reason I did that was because the Grand Prix arc actually showcases the card game. And it's so enjoyable to watch the card game because I'm a TCG player. And they also did a really good job with duels in Grand Prix arc and making them fun and cool. And whereas the final arc, it doesn't focus a lot on the duels, but the story is actually kind of interesting there. But the visuals are also kind of become downrated, and I'm also not really interested in the story. Not gonna lie, like I might going to bite my mouth and I'm going to like pick it up and going to continue watching it again. But I really like card games. Holy shit. I think this ranking is pretty good.